Hey everyone, have you ever stopped to think about where all the world's gold is? Like we see movies with giant vaults full of gold bars. But does that really exist? Do countries actually keep gold? Well, buckle up because today I'm going to show you 10 absolutely insane rankings about gold reserves that will blow your mind. And look, before we start, if you think you know who has the most gold in the world, I bet you'll be surprised by at least 3 countries on this list. So stick with me until the end because number 1 is simply surreal. Ranking 1, the absolute champion nobody doubts. Let's start with the obvious, right? United States. But hold on, even though it's obvious, the numbers are jaw-dropping. The USA holds approximately 8,133 tons of gold. To give you an idea, that's like, imagine 8,000 compact cars, that's a lot. And you know where it's stored? Fort Knox, in Kentucky. That place you've seen in 1,000 movies, with security heavier than a spy movie bunker. But here's a detail few people know. Fort Knox doesn't store all American gold. There's gold scattered in other places too, like at the Federal Reserve in New York, which is 25 meters below street level in Manhattan. Imagine you're walking there shopping, and there are billions in gold right under your feet. But the craziest part? The United States hasn't bought gold in decades. This giant reserve was built mainly until the 1970s, when the dollar was still backed by gold. Since then, they've just been sitting on top of this mountain of precious metal like a dragon protecting its treasure. Ranking 2, Europe that surprises. Now get this, second place isn't China, it's Germany, with about 355 tons of gold. And the story behind this is insane. During the Cold War, West Germany kept most of its gold. In the United States. That's right. On American soil. Why? Fear of the Soviet Union invading and taking everything. But here comes the plot twist. After German reunification and especially after the 2008 crisis, Germans started thinking, wait a minute, is our gold really in the USA? And you know what they did? They started repatriating the gold. Between 2013 and 2017, Germany brought back more than 600 tons of gold that were stored in New York and Paris. Today, about 50% of German gold is in Frankfurt, on German soil. And the German people demanded this. There was popular pressure and everything. The question is, why does a country keep gold in another's territory? Well, at the time it made strategic and logistical sense. But nowadays, with geopolitical tensions, each country wants its gold nice and close, thank you. Ranking 3, the power that's buying everything. Now yes, let's talk about China. And here things get interesting because nobody knows the exact number. Officially, China reports about 2,068 tons of gold, but financial market experts believe this number could be much higher. Why? Because China has been buying gold silently for years. They don't announce all purchases, don't make a fuss. It's like that friend who gets rich but keeps driving an old car so nobody notices. China's strategy is clear. Reduce dependence on the American dollar. And check out this crazy fact. China is the world's largest gold producer. They mine about 370 tons per year. And export nothing. Everything stays in the country. So do the math. If they produce 370 tons per year and still buy gold from other countries, where is all this going? Some analysts estimate China could have 4,000 tons or more. If that's true, they'd technically already be in second place, not third. But since they don't disclose, we're in the field of speculation. Master-level Chinese mystery. Ranking 4, Russia that became a voracious buyer. Russia with approximately 2,332 tons. And the Russian story is epic. In the 2000s, Russia had less than 500 tons. In other words, they quadrupled their reserves in just over 20 years. Vladimir Putin had a clear strategy. Let's protect ourselves from Western sanctions by accumulating gold. And look, it made sense. When sanctions started tightening, especially after 2014 with Crimea, and later in 2022 with the war in Ukraine, having gold means having an asset that doesn't depend on the Western financial system. Russia's central bank was buying an average of 200 tons of gold per year during the peak of this strategy. That's an absurd amount. And here's another interesting detail. Russia is the world's second largest gold producer, losing only to China. So they can also mine and keep without depending on imports. But there's a catch. With the most recent sanctions, Selling this gold has become very difficult. So Russia has a mountain of gold, but is having trouble converting it to currency when needed. It's like having a huge diamond, but being on a desert island with nobody to buy it. Ironic, right? Ranking 5. Switzerland, that's Europe's vault. Switzerland with about 1,040 tons. And look, this ranking makes total sense. Switzerland has always been the haven of banks, neutrality, security. It's the place where dictators, billionaires, and even countries keep their wealth. But here's a plot twist. Switzerland used to have much more gold. In the 1950s, they had more than 2,500 tons. What happened? They sold it. Between 2000 and 2005, Switzerland sold 1,300 tons of gold because they thought it was an outdated asset and wanted to diversify reserves. Today, many Swiss economists say it was a mistake, because if they had kept that gold, it would be worth much more today. It's the same old story. Sold low, and now the price is sky high. But still, Switzerland remains a global gold hub. Most of the world's important refineries are in Switzerland. About 70% of all world gold passes through Swiss refineries at some point. So even though the country doesn't have the largest stock, it controls the flow. It's like being the doorman of the world gold building. Ranking 6. Discreet but powerful Japan. Japan with approximately 846 tons. And the Japanese strategy is completely different from everyone else. Japan is a giant economy, right? Third largest economy in the world. But they're not obsessed with gold like China or Russia. Why? Because Japan has historically preferred to invest in US government bonds, those famous treasury bonds. But there's an interesting detail. Since 2011, after the tsunami and Fukushima nuclear disaster, the Bank of Japan started slightly increasing its gold reserves. It was like a plan B in case the economy collapsed. And check out this insane curiosity. Japan has one of the world's largest electronic gold reserves. That's right. Gold extracted from electronic waste. Old cell phones, computers, circuit boards. All of this has gold. And Japan developed technology to extract this gold efficiently. They recover tons of gold per year just from electronic waste. Is that genius or what? Ranking 7. India and its cultural passion. India with about 787 tons in the government's official reserves. But here comes the big plot twist. If you count the gold that's in the population's hands, India explodes all rankings. It's estimated that Indian families hold between 25,000 and 27,000 tons of gold. It's surreal. This would make India the largest gold holder on the planet, by far. Why? Ancient culture. In India, gold isn't an investment, it's tradition. They import 700-900 tons per year. This even affects the country's trade balance. It's impressive how a commodity can be so ingrained in a people's culture. Indian weddings involve gold jewelry. Women wear gold as a symbol of status and security, and each family keeps gold as an inheritance. During festivals like Diwali, gold purchases skyrocket. It's like Black Friday, but for gold. The Indian government has even tried several times to create programs to mobilize this private gold. Like, hey folks, don't you want to deposit this gold in banks and earn interest? Population's response, no. Because for them, having physical gold kept at home is what gives security. No point having it in the bank. And there's more. India is the world's second largest gold consumer, loses only to China. Ranking 8. France and revolutionary gold. France with approximately 2,136 tons. Wait, fourth place? Yes. And you probably didn't expect that, right? France has a crazy history with gold. First, they also kept a lot of gold in the USA, just like Germany. But in the 1960s, French President Charles de Gaulle made a bold move. He didn't trust the American dollar and started demanding the conversion of dollars into gold. At the time, the Bretton Woods system allowed this. Countries could exchange dollars for gold with the USA. De Gaulle sent ships to get the gold. Literally. He drained gold from American vaults until the USA said, "Enough, no more." And this helped lead to the end of the gold standard in 1971, when Nixon said, "We no longer convert dollars to gold." Today, about 80% of French gold is stored in Paris at the Bank of France. And there's another detail. France was one of the countries that sold the least gold in recent decades. While other European countries sold massively between 1990-2010, France held firm, a strategy that proved right. Ranking 9, Italy and the hidden treasure. Italy with about 2,451 tons. Third place in Europe. Who would have thought, right? Italy, with all its economic crisis of recent decades, has a gigantic gold cushion. And here comes the funny part. During the European debt crisis 2010-2012, some Italian politicians suggested, let's sell the gold to pay the debts. How did the Italian population react? Never. There were protests, popular revolt, the whole 9 yards. For you to understand, Italian gold represents about 68% of the Bank of Italy's total reserves. That's an enormous percentage. And they don't want to get rid of it at all. It's like Plan Z, you know? If everything goes wrong, at least there's the gold. And there's an epic historical curiosity. During World War II, Mussolini ordered Italian gold to be hidden from the Nazis. Part of the gold was literally buried in secret tunnels in the Alps. There are even stories of gold that was thrown into lakes and never found again. It's like an Indiana Jones movie, but real. Today, Italian gold is secure in the Bank of Italy's vaults in Rome. And despite economic hardships, they don't plan to sell. Gold is national heritage. Touch it, and the population grabs torches and pitchforks. Ranking 10. The surprises nobody expected. Now comes the best part. Countries you didn't expect to have so much gold. Netherlands, Holland, 612 tons. A relatively small economy, compared to the giants, but with a giant gold reserve. Why? Amsterdam was Europe's financial center before London took over, and they kept this gold as historical heritage. Portugal, 382 tons, a small country but representing 72% of the Bank of Portugal's total reserves. They're all in on gold. It's the highest proportional concentration of gold relative to GDP in Western Europe. Venezuela. Here it gets sad. Venezuela had more than 400 tons. But with the brutal economic crisis, the Maduro government sold and repatriated part of the gold desperately. Today they have about 132 tons, and there's still a dispute about who controls this gold, the Maduro government or the opposition recognized by some countries. It's basically politically hostage gold. Turkey, a giant surprise. Turkey increased its reserves from 116 tons in 2010 to more than 540 tons today. They're following the Russian strategy, accumulate gold to reduce dollar dependence. And with the Turkish economy in turbulence and the lira devaluing, gold became the anchor of stability. Kazakhstan, 387 tons. A country many people don't even know where it is on the map, but which is one of Central Asia's largest gold producers. And they follow the logic, if we produce it, we'll keep it. And the rest of the gold? And now, to finish, let me tell you a mystery. Where is the rest of the world's gold? Adding all official reserves of central banks of all countries in the world, we have about 35,000 tons. But it's estimated that more than 200,000 tons of gold have been mined in all of human history. Where's the rest? Well, jewelry. About 90,000 tons are in the form of jewelry worldwide. Private investment. Gold bars and coins kept by individuals and funds, about 40,000 tons. Industry, electronics, medical equipment, etc., about 20,000 tons. Lost, disappeared, sunken ships, buried treasures. Gold lost in wars, estimates of 10,000 to 15,000 tons that simply disappeared. There's gold from Spanish ships sunk in the 16th century that are still at the bottom of the Atlantic. There's Nazi gold that was never found. There's gold from ancient civilizations that was melted down and lost its origin. Gold has history, literally. The conclusion that changes everything. So, summing up this crazy journey through the world of gold. 1. The USA is the absolute champion, but hasn't bought gold in decades. 2. Germany had to repatriate its own gold because it was stored in another country. 3. China is buying silently and nobody knows how much gold they really have. 4. Russia quadrupled its reserves in 20 years as an anti-sanctions strategy. 5. Switzerland sold gold and regrets it to this day. 6. Japan prefers American bonds but has its backup gold. 7. India has 25,000 tons in the hands of the people, not the government. 8. France caused the end of the gold standard by demanding its gold back in the 60s. 9. Italy protects its gold as sacred heritage. 10 small countries like Portugal and the Netherlands have proportionally giant reserves. And the big lesson? Gold isn't just precious metal, it's geopolitics, it's history. It's a national survival strategy. When the world economy shakes, when wars start, when crises explode, gold remains gold. You can't print gold like you print money. You can't devalue gold with monetary policy. That's why countries fight for it, hide it, keep it like dragons. And you, if you had a country, would you buy gold or bet on other assets? Leave it in the comments. And if you made it this far, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, because that helps a lot. And share this video with that friend who loves theories about economics and geopolitics. Thanks everyone. See you next time.